Yeah, it's okay for film buffs to chunter away about that bit of camera work or this evocation of the mise-en-scene, or for food buffs to detail their year-long quest for the perfect balsamic vinegar. But anyone who discusses video games in any detail whatsoever is automatically branded a sad, spotty, nerdo-geek virgin with the cultural sensibilities of a spoon. Here we see the Newsnight review team failing to have fun with the fun Nintendo Wii.
I hate computer games, never played computer games before, and hopefully we'll never play them again.
I found it boring.
In the end, a book seems more about the imagination than this.
What, even this book? Anyway, games are better than telly, and here's why. OK, most obvious point first, watching TV is a passive activity. Most of the time you just leave Mr. Brain in his off setting.
Games keep you active, and I'm not just talking about exercising your thumbs in an ultra-violent kill fest.
5 minutes of Tetris almost certainly taxes your brain more than, say, 5 hours of Mastermind.
Within my lifetime, games have evolved at a dizzying pace. As a child, I used to look forward to trips to the local swimming pool. Nothing to do with the swimming, it's just that the pool was overseen by a small gallery area containing several arcade machines.
By today's standards, they were absurdly primitive, of course, hulking great monoliths farting out atonal bleeps. Those monochrome blobs represented everything from a terrifying fight for survival in an asteroid field to a sort of Irwin Welsh-style urban nightmare in which a jaundiced figure scurries around frantically guzzling pills while pursued by spectres within a nightmarish urban maze from which there is no escape. Later games came home. Suddenly you could play them on your own TV, which was outrageously exciting, as this demonstration by Leslie Judd clearly demonstrates.
Leslie there entering the peculiarly male world of mindless games.
Today's mindless games are far more advanced, yet continue to evolve in countless directions at once.
Case in point, the aforementioned Nintendo Wii, with which the humble joystick has evolved into an extension of the human arm.
My favourite game on the Wii is this one, where you just repeatedly poke Vernon Kay in the eye.
Or look at this on the PC, a bunch of players amusing themselves online in a custom-made Faulty Towers map for the multiplayer deathmatch epic Counter-Strike. What's that? Not as funny as Faulty Towers, I hear you say. Well, of course it isn't. It's not supposed to be.
People always have a go at video games in that way, saying things like, oh, no video game is ever going to be so moving, it will make the player cry. Well, so what? That's not its purpose. That's like arguing that ballet isn't a valid art form because it doesn't make people fart. It's not trying to, you stupid thixicle.
OK, so the cutscenes are almost always laughably bad, but that's part of their charm, if you ask me. Take Resident Evil. The game was superb, but the cutscenes were like a soap opera on heavy skunk.
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But never mind the acting, the video game's main objective is to tax your problem-solving skills or just excite you like a thriller, and they do this better than anything on TV.
You know, I actually had to stop playing this game once because I was genuinely getting post-traumatic stress disorder. That's an achievement of sorts.
Yes, video games are going through a renaissance, and you shouldn't miss out, like you are now, by choosing to watch TV instead, like some kind of medieval throwback farmhand it takes ages to get anywhere like this. Am I out of frame yet? Thank for that. Now here's Rab and Ryan from online video games show Consolevania and BBC Scotland's Video Guiden.
Well, Microlive was a very dry educational show back then. I think we were about 8 or 9, must have been when it was on.
Aye.
I think the thing people remember most about Microlive was the opening titles where an owl kind of flew in. And kind of technologically minded people are always interested in owls, aren't they? I think it's because they've got the perfect neck for porn browsing on the internet, where you can be watching the latest Belladonna video and kind of checking behind you to see if your mother's walked in the room in one kind of smooth motion. I think that's the...
Who's Belladonna?
Look it up.
It's hard to tell who the audience was because they spent a fortune on it, but everything on it cost like £5,000.
This micro, for example, would set you back about £7,000 or £8,000.
Fred Harris was the presenter of Microlive, and he was a decent guy, he was just a nice guy. You don't see guys like that presenting shows on TV anymore. Everybody's a bastard on telly now.
Nice one, Rainbird.
You know, even with graphics as basic as they were back then, they were so awe-inspiring to the people that made Microlive.
But best of all are the graphics.
Only brothers in arms with dire straits could possibly convey the emotion that they were feeling. These days you've got like 1,000 games coming out every week, right? But back then it was 1,000 machines you had coming out every week. So they would have a guy on explaining what this new machine was, and it'd be literally as quick as he'd walk off the set and one of the crew would turn them round and send them back on with another machine, and he'd explain how it's been upgraded. And in that, like 3 seconds since he was last there.
It's got 512k of RAM, it's got 512k of ROM, so we're getting close to 1.5 meg altogether. That's really quite a lot.
Because it was old technology, so everything is measured by telephone books. It's like they have a new disc on it and they say, on this disc you can get 33 pages of a telephone book on it. Because it's the only measurement that people understand, and they go, there's a new disc and you can get like 2 gigabytes on it.
There's something this size and you can get 1,000 phone numbers on it.
Aye.
One day, we may be able to store enough information to fill 10,000 phone books.
Database was ITV's kind of response to Microlive, and it was a lot more entertainment based, but they hired psychopaths to present it, didn't they? Tony Bastable was the main presenter, which is just, I mean, that's like a name that somebody's written, a name that somebody's created.
He's an absolute nutcase.
Tony Bastable was worried about technology falling into the wrong hands.
Yeah, this was his whole angle, that it wasn't a plaything or anything, this was serious business, and it was a weapon, really, wasn't it?
It was a weapon.
So for £2, I have bought the central processing chip off the shelf for the Sinclair computer. For all this nice lady and gentleman know, I could be a Russian spy exporting that bit of hardware to do something devious with it.
Something interesting about databases, they would broadcast software at the end of the show. So instead of like end credit music, they would broadcast software. So it would be like the audio beep beep stuff that Spectrum's used.
Now start your recorders for the software transmission, and until next week, goodbye.
So what you actually got was the most surreal 30 seconds in television, where human beings would stand in a darkened studio while these machines kind of whined and screamed. It was as if they were warning people of the way TV was going to be in 20 years' time.
Now here's a cartoon from internet animator David Firth of fatpie.com.
Welcome back. Our 6 shit guests have pre-written jokes, so the real skill here is who can read them out the best.
That's a good link for my Linford Christie joke.
Choice time. Should our panellists tell a tedious, drawn-out story about a misunderstanding between 2 celebrities? Press the turquoise button for that. Or should he be cutting edge and tell an ironically racist joke that's not really racist, but still manages to offend a few people?
Has anyone pressed any of those blasted buttons yet?
No, because there's a video on the internet of a man and he's talking about his knees. Everyone seems to be watching that.
Realism. That's what people want. Unedited videos, people talking slowly, lip-syncing to pop songs.
All right, chaps, carry on exactly what you're doing, but it's going out live now. It's not edited.
John Bon Jovi was in the news this week. Quippity quip quip cue card quip.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, isn't it? Oh, you, greasy hair, tell a Bon Jovi joke. But I haven't prepared. Oh, fuck's sake. Oh, Bob, go on internet, get him a Bon Jovi joke. They should call him Gone Bon Jovi now. Ha ha.
Come on, everybody, start laughing.
We won't laugh at that, producer.
Well, I'll just do several laughs and then my editors can cut them all together and it'll sound like a whole audience.
But I thought this was going out unedited.
Oh, bollocks, who cares? No one's watching.